Everyone says meal prep is for young people who go to the gym. But what if I told you that seniors need meal prep even more? Not for fitness goals, but for something far more important, dignity on your hardest days. Because here's what nobody talks about. There will be days when your body says no, when arthritis flares, when exhaustion hits like a wave, when even opening a can of soup feels like climbing a mountain. And on those days, most seniors eat crackers, or skip meals entirely, or feel ashamed because they can't do something so simple. That ends today. I'm going to show you 4 meals that will be there for you when you're not there for yourself. These aren't complicated recipes. These are meals that freeze beautifully, reheat in minutes, and taste like someone who loves you made them. Because someone who loves you did make them. You did, on a good day, for yourself on a bad day. Let me tell you about my friend Margaret. She's 73, lives about 2 blocks from here, and last Tuesday she called me. I could hear it in her voice before she even said the words, that heaviness, that exhaustion that goes bone deep. "I'm so tired today," she told me. "I can't stand at the stove. My back hurts. My hands hurt. I'm just so tired." And then she said something that broke my heart. "I ate crackers for dinner. Again." Now, Margaret is not lazy. Margaret is not giving up. Margaret has arthritis that flares up without warning, and on those days her body simply will not cooperate. Standing at the stove for 20 minutes feels impossible. Chopping vegetables feels like punishment. Holding a knife feels like gripping broken glass. And here's what I want you to understand, because maybe you felt this too. That exhaustion doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. You've lived a long life. You've cooked thousands of meals. You've taken care of other people for decades. And now, on the days when your energy just isn't there, you deserve to have someone take care of you, even if that someone is the version of you from last Sunday when you felt stronger, preparing meals for the version of you on Tuesday when you don't. That's what this is about. Not meal prep like the young people do it for weight loss or fitness goals. This is about dignity. This is about making sure that on your hardest days, you still eat real food that nourishes you and reminds you that you matter. So I'm going to walk you through 4 meals, simple, filling, and forgiving, that you can make when you're feeling good and pull out when you're not. And here's what matters most. These meals freeze beautifully, reheat in minutes, and taste like love. The first meal is something I call chicken and rice comfort bowls. And this is the one I make most often because it's almost impossible to mess up, and it actually tastes better after it's been frozen and reheated. At first glance, this seems too simple to work. Just chicken, rice, vegetables, broth. But here's the hidden power. When you freeze this meal, the flavors marry together. The rice absorbs the chicken juices, the vegetables become tender, and when you reheat it 3 weeks later, it tastes like someone spent hours making it for you, when really you spent 40 minutes on a Sunday afternoon. Professional meal prep experts call this batch cooking with grace. Nutritionists recommend this exact combination, protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables, as the foundation of senior nutrition. But Margaret calls it something else, my insurance policy against bad days.
Here's what you need. Bone-in chicken thighs. Not breasts, thighs, because they stay moist and tender even after freezing. White or brown rice, a couple of carrots, an onion, some chicken broth, salt, pepper, and maybe a bay leaf if you have one. That's it. No exotic ingredients, nothing you need to hunt down at a specialty store. You put everything in one pot. Brown the chicken thighs in a little oil. Hear that sizzle? Smell that golden skin? Pull them out. Cook your chopped onions and carrots for a few minutes until your kitchen smells like comfort. Add the rice, pour in the broth, nestle the chicken back on top, put the lid on, and let it simmer for about 40 minutes. Your kitchen will smell like someone's grandmother is cooking Sunday dinner. Steam will rise from the pot, carrying the scent of thyme and butter and home. And when it's done, you let it cool, portion it into containers, 1 serving per container if you live alone, 2 if there's 2 of you, and you label it with the date and simple instructions. Microwave 3 minutes, stir 2 more minutes. On a bad day, you pull that container out the night before, let it thaw in the fridge, and the next day, when you can barely lift your arms, you pop it in the microwave, and 5 minutes later, you have a real meal. Protein, vegetables, carbohydrates, everything your body needs. No standing, no chopping, no pain. And here's what Margaret told me after she tried this. I cried the first time I ate it, not because it was fancy, because I felt taken care of. That feeling, that's what we're building toward with the next meal, which is even simpler and reheats in under 3 minutes. The second meal is bean and vegetable soup, and this one is my secret weapon because you can make a huge batch on a Sunday afternoon when you're feeling okay, and it'll give you 6 to 8 meals that you can store in your freezer for months. At first glance, soup seems too basic to bother freezing, but here's what I learned from elderly patients at the hospital where my daughter works. Soup is medicine, not just for colds, for loneliness, for pain, for days when chewing feels hard and swallowing feels like an effort. Geriatric dietitians say soup is one of the best foods for seniors because it's hydrating, easy to digest, and you can pack it with nutrients. But more than that, there's something about holding a warm bowl in your hands, feeling the steam on your face, tasting something that's been simmered with care. Soup feels like someone's looking after you. Here's the beautiful thing. It's forgiving. You can use whatever vegetables you have. Carrots, celery, zucchini, tomatoes, green beans, fresh, frozen, or canned, it doesn't matter. You add beans for protein, kidney beans, white beans, chickpeas, whatever you like, some vegetable or chicken broth, Italian seasoning, and let it simmer for an hour while you sit down and rest. The work is at the beginning, chopping vegetables, but here's a tip that changed everything for Margaret. Buy pre-cut vegetables from the freezer section or the pre-chopped fresh vegetables in the produce section. Yes, they cost a little more, but if the alternative is not eating a real meal because your hands hurt too much to chop, then that extra dollar is worth every penny. Once the soup is done, you let it cool, ladle it into individual containers. I use the containers from sour cream or yogurt, washed and reused, and you stack them in your freezer. Label each one. Bean soup, Jan 2026, microwave 2 minutes, stir 1 more minute. That's all. On a bad energy day, you pull one out, and 3 minutes later, you have a bowl of soup that's full of fiber, protein, vitamins, and warmth. You can eat it sitting down, you can eat it with just a spoon. You can eat it slowly, letting each bite remind you that you prepared this for yourself because you knew this day would come and you chose to be ready. This kind of preparation, this foresight, creates a foundation for the next meal, which actually improves after freezing.
The third meal is the one that surprises people because it actually gets better after freezing. The texture deepens, the flavors marry, and when you reheat it, it tastes like it came from an Italian grandmother's kitchen. The third meal is baked pasta with meat sauce, or if you don't eat meat, you can make it with lentils or just extra vegetables. And this is comfort food that doesn't apologize for being simple. At first glance, freezing pasta seems wrong. We've been told pasta gets mushy, watery, disappointing, but here's the secret restaurants use. You undercook the pasta slightly when you first make it, so when it reheats, it finishes cooking to perfect tenderness instead of turning to mush. Physical therapists who work with arthritis patients recommend casseroles like this because they're calorie-dense. On days when eating feels hard, you need every bite to count. And occupational therapists love them because they require minimal fine motor skills to eat. No cutting, no balancing food on a fork, just scoop and eat. You cook pasta, penne, rigatoni, any short pasta that holds sauce well, until it's just barely done, not fully cooked. You make or buy a jar of marinara sauce, brown some ground beef or turkey if you want meat, mix everything together with a little ricotta or cottage cheese for creaminess. Put it in a baking dish, top it with mozzarella, and bake it until it's bubbly and golden and your kitchen smells like an Italian restaurant. Then, here's the key. You let it cool completely, cut it into individual portions right in the pan, wrap each portion in plastic wrap and then foil, double wrap, and freeze them separately. This way, you can pull out one portion at a time instead of having to defrost and eat an entire casserole. To reheat, unwrap, put it on a microwave-safe plate, cover with a damp paper towel, microwave for 4 minutes, check if it's hot all the way through. If not, 1 more minute. That's it. This meal sticks to your ribs. It satisfies that need for something hearty and filling. And when you're having a low-energy day, that matters. You're not just putting something in your stomach. You're feeding yourself a meal that feels substantial, that feels like you're being taken care of. And on the days when even microwaving feels like too much, there's one more meal, the emergency meal, that requires no heating at all. The fourth meal is the one I save for my absolute worst days, the days when even microwaving feels like too much. And I know some of you are thinking, cold food from the freezer? That can't be good.
But let me tell you why this meal is so important. The fourth meal isn't even cooked when you make it, and that's the genius of it. These are cold wraps that you assemble ahead of time, freeze, and eat cold after thawing. I know that sounds strange, but trust me, on a day when you genuinely cannot stand, cannot microwave, cannot do anything except sit, this meal becomes a lifeline. At first glance, a cold wrap seems inadequate, not real food, not substantial enough. But here's what I learned from Margaret on her worst day, the day she couldn't even lift her arms to reach the microwave. Any food is better than no food, and a wrap that contains protein, vegetables, and flavor is infinitely better than crackers or nothing at all. Emergency room doctors see seniors come in dizzy, weak, confused, and often it's because they skipped meals for days because cooking felt impossible. Registered dietitians say that for seniors with chronic pain, having no heat options can be the difference between eating and not eating. This isn't a backup plan. This is primary care for your hardest days. Here's what you do. Take large flour tortillas, spread a thin layer of cream cheese or hummus as a moisture barrier, then add your fillings: deli turkey or chicken, cheese, shredded lettuce or spinach, thin sliced tomatoes, maybe some ranch dressing. Roll them up tight, wrap each one individually in plastic wrap, put them all in a freezer bag, and freeze.
The night before you plan to eat one, move it from the freezer to the fridge. It thaws overnight, and by lunchtime the next day, you unwrap it and eat it cold. It's not hot food, but it's real food with protein, vegetables, and flavor. And on a day when your body is screaming at you, when standing feels impossible, when opening a can of soup feels like climbing a mountain, you can sit in your chair and eat this wrap and know that you took care of yourself. Some people keep these in the freezer for emergencies. Some people eat them regularly. There's no shame in either approach. This is about survival on the hard days, and survival is honorable. Now here's the part where most people lose the game: labeling. If you don't label your containers, you'll pull something out in 3 months and have no idea what it is or when you made it. So here's my system, and it's simple. Every container gets 3 pieces of information written in permanent marker: the name of the meal, the date you made it, and the reheating instructions. Chicken rice bowl, Jan 12, 2026. Microwave 5 minutes. That's it. Keep a list on your fridge with everything you have in the freezer so you can glance at it and know what's available. Cross items off as you eat them. This isn't complicated organization. This is just making things easier for your future self. Most of these meals are good for 3 months in the freezer. After that, they're still safe to eat, but the quality starts to decline. So rotate through them. Make a new batch every month or so, and you'll always have options waiting for you. Margaret called me last week. She'd made a batch of the chicken and rice bowls and the bean soup, and she said something I'll never forget. You know what the best part is? I'm not afraid of bad days anymore. I know I'll still eat. Not I'll survive, not I'll manage. She said, I know I'll still eat. Real food, nourishing food, food that reminds her she matters. That's what this is about. Not fancy meal prep, not Instagram-worthy food photos. This is about removing fear from the days when your body won't cooperate. This is about the you from Sunday taking care of the you from Tuesday. Your freezer can say, I've got you, because you, on a good day, chose to take care of yourself on a bad day. That's not giving up. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's you honoring your limits while still honoring your needs. Here's what I want you to do this week. Not someday, not when you feel perfect. This week, pick one of these meals, just one, the one that sounds easiest or most appealing. Make it on a day when you're feeling okay, not your best day, just an okay day. Portion it, label it, freeze it, and then wait. Wait for a hard day. And when it comes, because it will come, open your freezer, pull out that container, and eat a meal that the stronger version of you prepared for the struggling version of you. And then come back here and tell me, which meal did you make? How did it feel to eat it on a hard day? Because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Your experience might give another person the courage to prepare for their own hard days. When you share, you're not just helping yourself, you're protecting your community. If you know someone who lives alone, who has arthritis, who has days when even simple tasks feel impossible, share this video. One recipe could change how they survive their worst days. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because next week I'm showing you 3 breakfasts that require no standing and no cooking, just assembly and refrigeration, for those mornings when even getting out of bed feels like victory enough. Make these meals when you feel strong, pull them out when you don't, and know that every single time you do, you're choosing yourself. You're choosing dignity. You're choosing to eat real food even when everything hurts. You deserve that every single day. Your freezer is waiting to take care of you. All you have to do is let it.